Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Phil Better. I'm going to do a quick intro to everybody. No questions because we want to get this rolling and have as little technical difficulties. So our special guest this week's episode is Sir Study. He is an amazing podcaster for the horror fanatics. So with him being on, I appropriate that we chose this film. So Sir Study, please give us your quick brief intro.
How's it going? I'm Sir Sturdy. I have a horror podcast, Horror with Sir Sturdy, and I have another podcast called Popcorn and Pints. Check them both out. They'll be live on Facebook, on YouTube, Twitch, and all that good stuff. I'll actually be live on Popcorn and Pints tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The Z Network on YouTube, _Z_Network on Twitch, and Facebook, Popcorn and Pints.
There we go. And I was recently a guest a few weeks back on one of your great episodes about Pontypool, which was so much fun to talk about that amazing Canadian film.
Yes, I got to get you on again, by the way, man. But that was fun.
No worries. Before you get me back on, we're going to make sure we have the man who may or may not be wearing pants, my boy, DJ Overflow. No, you sit. You stay sitting, sir. Tell us, Al, how are you doing? What's new? What's exciting for you?
I'm okay, but I'm a little chilly. That's why I'm wearing a jacket right now. Which
could be because you're not wearing pants.
Am I?
You are sitting down, so we're happy there. Moving on from the lack of pants that Al could or could not be wearing, we got the man who knows everything about films, my homie from across the pond, Aaron Talks Films. Sir, how are you doing?
Better, thank you. I'm feeling a lot better. I think last week, if anyone remembers, I was under the weather, and this week has been absolutely horrible. I'm not quite 100% yet, but I'm glad that when I am close to 100%, I can still manage to come on here and speak to you, lovely gentlemen.
We always love your classic British wit and knowledge regarding the movies. Let's talk some news. You sent me some earlier news today, so I want to hear what you have to say about this and, of course, everybody else. Aaron, tell us why is Scream 5 having multiple scripts?
Spoilers, basically. I think that's basically what it will all come down to. In the age that we are living in right now, in this media obsessed internet age, people like spoilers. People don't want to wait. People don't have the patience. If in some way they can find out anything about a movie beforehand, they will do. And someone will always get hold of one of these scripts and it will get leaked to the public and people will read it and then spoil it to everyone else on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So it's not the best way to do it, I don't think, because eventually someone will stumble across the right one. With, if you've got 5 different scripts and you leak every single one, the eventual outcome will still get spoiled. But it's just a way of stopping all of those spoilers coming to the forefront and ruining this movie and the potential that it could have, especially with the legacy that is the Scream movies. So I think the best thing to do is to try and stop people spoiling it.
Excellent. Aaron, tell us, what's your opinion on having multiple scripts for Scream movies, since it is a horror-related movie and that's your genre?
Well, first, I want to tell you, Scream in general, overrated. Never really a fan. Okay at best. So I feel like they need to write multiple scripts because the movie's so bad. They need to just keep writing and writing. But at the same time, though, I will watch it just because, I watched 1 through 4 already, and I'll probably watch 1 through 4 again when this one comes out. That's just what I do. But not a big fan. I mean, I guess because of the leaks, but I get it. It makes sense to an extent. But I just feel like it's another thing to get more. And I also feel like it's one of those things, we live in the social media era and that whole, they're doing 5 different scripts. That's going to get more eyes on it, more people talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Al, who may or may not be wearing pants in the name of a million
You'll find out later.
Yeah, I will. I know. He's in the other room, actually, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the love to all our watchers. John, Louise, thank you very much for tuning in. But Al, what's your opinion on the five scripts for Scream 5?
I just want to say with Aaron's comment, like I'm kind of half with you because I really like the first one. Second one was I didn't like the third one. Fourth one was so I'm kind of half with it. As far as with multiple scripts, it's fine. I actually would approve. Like, I remember back in the day, the movie Clue, like it's based off the game, the board game. They made a movie out in 1985. They had multiple endings, and they feed out certain endings to certain cinemas. I would have liked maybe that approach if you're gonna do something, so it doesn't hence the spoilage of like the movie experience. So you go to a specific theater to go watch a specific part of Scream 5s, and you'll have a different ending than the other ones. The only thing is you can't spoil all five. Let's say there's 5 scripts of it. You'll probably have to kind of keep it hush hush in terms of, but you'll have the experience of being like, oh hey, look, this is a different ending to this different ending. So I kind of would like maybe some sort of approach to that, because that'd be pretty cool. But in general, 5 scripts with 5 different endings, it's common.
Yeah. I think like maybe more like a choose your own adventure type ending, like every cinema,
like those choose your own adventures in those books. That'd be cool.
Like Netflix has done it with Berserker, I think it was, or something like that.
It was with what was it? Oh my god!
It was like
was it Black Mirror?
Black Mirror, yeah.
Black Mirror, yeah, that's it.
And they did it with Bear Grylls now with his show. So yeah, it's obviously this is the books are now becoming reality.
Yeah,
which is strange. But moving on, you still staying in the world of horror, Aaron. You were telling me that that a big company is going to be going to make a horror film, go from family friendly to all horror. What is this?
Well, Disney now own the rights to pretty much everything in the world, so they want more money.
They are our corporate overlords.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse needs more money, so he is going to use his he's not going to use that. He's going to use his right, and he's going to go and I don't know why I'm going along with this. Disney are going to make an Alien movie, and I think they're going to. As far as I'm aware, it's a refresh, it's a reboot. They're going to start from the beginning. They're not going to use Sigourney Weaver's character. They're not going to go down that route. I think they're not going to go a family friendly route, but they want to just refresh the whole franchise. But
so they're going to make it into kind of like the original trilogy, or not? It's a quad, and including Predator and all that, because we know it's now in the same world and universe. Are they going to be doing like, okay, that's the legacy stuff, kind of like what they're doing with Fox's X-Men? It's like that's legacy. It's nice, but it's not part of the canon anymore. And they're just saying, okay, this is the legacy of that. We're going to take some of the bones and make it new. Is that what they're planning on doing?
Pretty much, yeah. They're gonna still focus on a female lead, but I think the problem is, if the rumors of what the scripts are right now, I'm not completely happy with, because there's going to be a good alien and a bad alien. I don't know. This female lead, she comes across one of the face huggers, one of the eggs, and I suppose she imprints on it, and she becomes a mother figure to this alien. But there's also a bad one.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going over to Mr. Sturdy here.
No, I can see him. I can see him shaking.
Oh, he looks so like this. It sounds so bad to me. I don't know about you guys, but as the resident horror expert here, the lover of all things gore, how do you feel about hearing how they are taking the teeth out of a classic horror movie, thriller horror that is The Aliens?
Now, when I first heard about it, I wasn't too bothered, but I didn't like read up on it until what I heard Aaron just say, and I'm just like, they're gonna just mess it up and Disney it up and make it corny. Why can't they do? Because I know they're gonna be. I'm just gonna mention this really quick. Isn't Disney gonna be doing what is it? Fucking not Daredevil. All Red. Where's All Red?
Deadpool.
Yeah, and they're making that R-rated, right? So they're probably not going to take away from that. So why can't they do the same thing with Alien? Make it dark, make it scary. Don't make it, because making that mother figure just kind of takes away the fear of the movie. It takes away a lot.
That iconic scene of like Sigourney Weaver just right there, and you have the queen just like dripping like that. Like I want more of that. Give me that fear. And comments as well. Give me a second here. Sorry. Yes. Thank you very much. Aliens are sexy and lovely and want to kiss the aliens, of course. But here's the thing. You're taking the teeth away from it. Like you said, like you can't, we're getting Deadpool, but they're putting it on Hulu, and it's not going to be on their main. They own Hulu, of course, but it's not going to be on Disney Plus, possibly because of the vulgarity that it has. So you're taking, like you said, you're Disneying up a classic. You can't do that. You have I don't know about in the States, but I know North America, the Canada and Europe, they have Star now part of Disney Plus, and it's all the more adult movies and that Fox had. Like, it's not like you're not getting Commando, but you're getting, some of their more PG-13 to, very close to the R rating. But
they have Family Guy on there, so
yeah, you have Family Guy. You got those more raunchier stuff. So, Al, how do you feel about Disney Disneying up the Alien movies?
I have a feeling they're going the Star Wars route. So, whatever. We'll see what the story plot goes. But as far as I don't think it's going to be good, to be honest with you. Led it to believe that what they're planning on doing with this franchise. Like, if Ridley Scott's not part of it either, not to say that whatever, because the last two renditions of the Aliens movie that he did wasn't really great nonetheless. But I don't know, the reboot is one thing, but if whatever directions that they're gonna do, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But I'm not holding my breath on this one, to be honest with you.
It's possible, Louise. I love that energy you got. Will probably be awful, but what did you guys think? Alien the musical. We had Spider-Man the musical. We could get Aliens the musical.
If you get Manuel to sign up on it and produce it and do the whole thing and even star in it, that's fine. Lin-Manuel, that's his name. There you go.
I think Sir Sting's going to stab me if I bring up Disneyfying some more horror movies. So we're going to move on. Still staying in the Disney world. Aaron was telling me about how an Eggman and possibly a Bone will become a Wolverine. Tell me more about that, Aaron.
Sorry, that was the weirdest intro I've ever heard to a piece of news. Yeah,
I'm trying to keep it interesting, people.
Yeah, obviously they now that Marvel have the rights back to X-Men and the Fantastic Four, I think the main thing that they need to get off the ground is Wolverine, because he is by far the most popular X-Men character in all of Marvel. So they want to kickstart that franchise by getting Wolverine at the forefront. Their number one pick is Taron Egerton from Kingsman, as we know. Great actor, absolutely brilliant, because they want him because they want to go with the more shorter, stockier version of Wolverine, like he was. Yeah, they want to be more comic book accurate. Not that Hugh Jackman wasn't great in the role, but he's not what you imagine Wolverine to be before those movies came out. So they want to go back to basics. But
if they're going to go back to basics, I think they have to go with me. I think I have the Wolverine physique. I'm short and stocky.
Really?
I'm short and stocky, and I'm Canadian. There we go. If we're going to go keep it authentic.
I think you're close. I think the thing that's holding you back, though, is the beard. But with Taron Egerton...
He said it. I was thinking it. He said it, so...
There's no love for my beard. I hate you all. But go ahead, Aaron. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, Taron Egerton, I think there might be a few sticking points to him actually signing on. I'm not sure if he's really interested in the role. So their big backup option is Carl Urban, Dredd, and Bones from Star Trek. He's already been in the MCU, which a lot of people have already pointed out, but his character died, so why not bring him back? He's a great actor, and it's a good second choice. But I think
plus with the multiverse of madness coming, that doesn't really matter. He can be pulled from another dimension, so there's that. Okay, this is weird. Sorry. Don't mean to put that up. Aaron, what do you think of the Eggman? Sir Stewart. Sorry, I apologize there. The Eggman, Carl Egerton, or whatever his name is, or Carl Urban being the Wolverine, taking over the mantle.
It's okay. I'm not mad at it, but it's one of those things, and I feel like every fan of Wolverine from the live action movies, is gonna watch it saying, "Yeah, it's a cool Wolverine, but it's not our live action Wolverine. It's not Hugh Jackman." And that's kind of unfair because the guy can do phenomenal, but it's not Hugh Jackman. And I feel, yes, Hugh Jackman was taller, but like live act, they just did so well with it. The only thing I wish they would have done was had the yellow suit. If they do the yellow suit, I'll be excited. But I'm
All right, out of the two, Taylor Egerton or Carl Urban, who are you wanting?
Well, I have a picture of Carl Urban right up now, pulled up by me, so I'll say Carl Urban because he have similar features to Hugh Jackman from these side-to-side pictures that they have up here. So I'll say him.
All right, Al. I know you are a huge fan of the Marvel Universe and specifically the X-Men. How do you feel about the Eggman or Carl Urban taking on the mantle that is James Howlett, aka Wolverine?
I don't like either choices, to be honest with you. But the thing is, I do like Carl Urban more, only because he has the look, and you've seen his body of work. He could pull it off. The problem is the guy is 49 years old. So by the time they start filming, he'll be in his 50s. So I'm not saying that he can't do it, but the thing is, that's a lot of. That's longevity, and then the physique, the physicality. Another thing about with what's his name, Taron Egerton. Can he pull off an English accent? Because I don't know a movie that he's done where he's actually played like an American accent or has done any accents other than Elton John. So to me, I would like to see maybe like the approach of Hugh Jackman, maybe just get an unknown underground kind of actor to kind of surprise us all. A Canadian, maybe, shortstop, get a hockey player that's not Phil, and maybe get, and then we'll see it from there. But I have faith in the MCU of what they decide to do. If Carl Urban was younger, I'd be down for it, but it's just the age. I'm not going ageism here, but I'm just saying like he is up there, So
yeah, it's like you want a longevity because you want at least 20 movies out of the guy. Yeah. Carl Urban unfortunately may not be able to handle those 20 movies because it's going to take at least 20 years.
And again, he's Bones to me, or he's Dredd. He's like those two icons. That's Carl Urban for me. So that's
Fully agree with you guys. I'm interested. I have full faith in Kevin Feige choosing the right person to represent this iconic role because it's not only when Hugh Jackman took control of that role, there was a huge outcry because he wasn't what Wolverine looked like. Only the nerds cared, right? But now that he's cemented in so many people's in the modern day as Wolverine, no one knows that he's a short, stocky fellow. Everybody's like, oh, it's fine. He has to look like Hugh Jackman because Hugh Jackman took it and knocked it out of the park in every single role. No matter how bad the movie may have been, he fucking killed it. So it's great to see that he has that gravitas towards the role. But I trust in Feige because he hasn't steered us wrong yet. And now that he's getting more and more control of the MCU and has Disney Plus that he can tell more stories out of, it's only going to be bigger and better. But now the main reason I had Mr. Sturdy on was because we watched The Evil Dead of this week, the original OG from 1982, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the show note, in the comments. But overall, I'm going to ask you guys quickly, just let me know on a scale to 1 to 10. No, not even. First impressions. Aaron, talks, films, go.
About Evil Dead?
Yes.
Well, I thought I was only guessing on this for the first 15 minutes, so I have not actually watched Evil Dead this week. I have seen it.
Moving on.
Going
on to Aaron, to DJ Overflow. It's fine.
I didn't realize I was on the whole show.
I forgot that I was taking you off, so now you're stuck. Do you want to leave or do you want to stay? You can leave if you want.
Not to be rude, but I do really need to go to the toilet, and I've been checking the time constantly, thinking I'll be gone soon. It's okay, I can hold it.
Okay.
Let him go to the
You'd have
bathroom.
warn me next time that I'm on the whole show, and I'll watch the. Like I say, I've seen the movie, and I know it's a good movie, but I need to refresh my memory, Phil. This is terrible.
All right.
This is so
you sir
unprofessional.
are free to go. I apologize. I feel horrible. Have a good night. Make sure you
It was nice to meet
watch
you,
his
Aaron. Before I
YouTube
go,
channels.
it was nice to meet you, brother.
Phil, give both of these gentlemen my Facebook information, by the way, because I'd like to connect with these guys and some reviews as well.
Of course.
Yes, I've already subscribed to your
I'm gonna
YouTube
connect
channel.
everyone.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
All right, I'm kicking you out. Goodbye.
Have a good one, man.
There we go. We're going here. So, DJ Overflow, my boy, what did you think of The Evil Dead?
I didn't see it this week, but it's a classic of mine because I have it and I've seen it so many times, so I know the movie. It's because Sam Raimi is one of my favorite directors of all time. I love his classic, like his slew of movies. Just the style, of course, based a lot of those movies upon watching the original Evil Dead. It is pretty much like gruesome horror with practical effects 101. You know what I mean? So to me, this movie is like the holiest of holies in terms of what real horror movies should be in terms of limiting visuals and using practical effects and sensibility. So this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Mr. Sir Sturdy, because you are the resident connoisseur of the horrors, tell us, what did you think of this movie? Quick overview of this movie.
He's putting that pressure on me. Honestly, though, my brother Henry introduced me to this movie a few years. I forgot how many years ago now, but I love it. I enjoy it. I will say I did like the newer version better. I just because it was gorier and bloodier. That was it was just more violent. But this was awesome, and it's one of those things. It came out in 81. I was born in 85. I wish I was old enough to watch it in 81, like when it first came out, or better yet, go into the have a time machine and go and watch it. Have already seen it, but watching it with people in theaters when this movie came out for the first time, seeing their reactions for it. This is one of those films where I can say that I feel when it came out, it scared the shit out of people back then. And I just think it's a great, fun film. Everybody loves Bruce Campbell, except my wife. Just found that out today. Fan of Nicolas Cage, not a fan of Bruce Campbell.
Wow.
How did you marry her?
You know, you find this information out after you already put the ring on.
She kept that secret.
But overall, if we were going to give it a rating,
all right,
so I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's a really good film. I won't say you're not a horror fan if you've never seen this film, but I will say if you are a horror fan, you should definitely give it a chance. Because I hate when people say you're not a horror fan if you haven't. You're not a fan. It's like I wasn't introduced to them. So if you haven't seen this film, you should definitely check it out. I do highly recommend it.
And DJ Overflow, what are you giving it on 10 scares?
I'm gonna also give it an 8 on 10. Okay. Well, but the thing for me is, when I because I saw the second Evil Dead first, because I'm an 85 guy too.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember watching it more. I like it the same way you do. Plus, it's just more humorous and funny. Hence why I love Army of Darkness, the movie after that. It's classic. It's so cheesy. But with the original Evil Dead, I grew to. I loved it when I first saw it because it just was kind of those movies where it kind of messes you up in a sense where it's. The practicality is so simple, but the cinematography brings it to the forefront of what scare tactics can work in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's campy. It's like I was just reading it. It's like it was like $90,000 to make, which is not a big budget movie. So they used a lot of. They use simple storylines and practicality to make this movie a cult classic. So yeah, Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead, to me is up there of what a horror movie can be to just scare people. So
I truer words have never been said on this podcast, but they will be said future probably again later on. I don't know. But yes, I agree with both of you guys. This is a movie that changed. I think it's kind of like it's another genre changing horror movie, like Romeo George R. Romero with his zombie movies, but you also have John Carpenter. Sam Raimi changed horror and was able to say, look, you can inject a lot of sometimes humor into horror and it's still scary as hell. And you can make a great horror movie that can turn out into a classic and then go into cult classic with little to no money. He's like Kevin Smith, where Kevin Smith came in, he's like, look, I'm reinventing the teen movie with Clerks. Sam Raimi came in and reinvented horror by being so amazing with this movie.
I agree with that. This was a really good movie, and it's one of those films to where you're just like, when you first watch it, you're just like, what the fuck? What the hell's going on? But you're hooked. It's not one of those ones where it's like too much of craziness going on where you're just like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. I'm going to change the channel. You're just like, okay. And then once this movie starts, like once it starts getting wild, it just keeps going and going and going and building on from that. And you can't ask for anything more entertaining, especially for horror.
So true. Yeah, no.
For this type of horror, because there's different subgenres of horror, as we all know. But for this type of horror, you want it to be exactly how this movie is.
Yep, it does what it needs to do with the budget it has, and it knocks it out of the park. Like, it is seriously. Were you scared the first time you watched this movie, boys? Because we all grew up in the 80s. Born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, where horror movies like just now have gone to level 10. You show someone back in the 80s one of the horror movies today, they'll probably faint from fear pretty much about the gore and all that, because it changes, right? You need to go up every once. But were you, when you first saw this, were you scared?
I was a little kid, or like, preteen, when I first saw it. I remember just being kind of this shock value of, because it was kind of like in the level of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because just the kind of because again, these are all unknown actors, like, these are college kids basically making a horror movie, right? So, but the thing is, what's great about it, it brings kind of the realism of all those kind of genres of movies in the 80s, like all those classic horror movies that came out of the 80s that with no budget. It has that sense of like, oh, this could actually happen if I ever go into a cabin, and then like the voodoo, like spirit entities are like coming out of the woodworks after reading a book, or like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like you run into a family of cannibals that want to just eat you, you know what I mean, and just slat you through. The realism is the scare factor that brings a lot of these movies out, So with Evil Dead, it's just it's just the art of kind of fear factor using simplicity. It's effective, and that's kind of a genre that's kind of missing with today's horror movies, I find.
Ooh. And as the horror expert, Sir Sturdy, how do you feel about that? What Al just said, that the horror movies are missing.
Say the last part again.
Sorry. Well, Al was saying how the horror movies today are missing.
It's up and down. It's up and down, because there is some horror movies nowadays that are doing things a little different, like with your Hereditaries and Midsommars. Which I did not see Midsommar yet, but I need to. But I did see Hereditary.
I think if you like Hereditary, I think you'll like it. But Hereditary is a better movie. But I would definitely watch Midsommar.
Oh, I have it on my wheel, on my horror wheel, so I'll eventually have to watch it. We're actually doing Hereditary Tuesday. I just remembered that.
Oh, nice.
But it's one of those things too. Like I guess you could say with any movie, I feel everybody has a right to their own opinions for these movies. So there's no facts about it. Like how you feel about horror movies now or from back then could be completely different from how others feel. I do love the era that we grew up in. I feel like was the best for just everything: movies, music, food, everything. But I'm probably biased to that because I feel like older people than us will say the same, and younger people than us will say the same for the most part. And just because you grew up around, comfortable with it, you just love it. And the thing about like the 80s, 90s era, the 80s era, I'll say mainly 80s, 90s era, is it was just so different than any other era out there. Any other era was just so different. And when movies do like a throwback to the 80s, people love that shit. Stranger Things, 80s. Yeah. Love it. Love it.
I love Stranger Things.
They picked the 80s for a reason, because there's so much you can pull from the 80s. You got the Ghostbusters. I forgot what else they did in the show, but that was one thing they dressed up as the Ghostbusters. You can pull so many things from the 80s, and people you just remember. Yes, I know we were all babies in the 80s, but early 90s, it still kind of carried over to that. And you at least seen those movies, so you're just like, I feel good. And that's how these 80s horror movies make me feel now.
I feel like our generation, is anybody born from 1980 to pretty much 1995, that like you were born in there, you had some connection to the 80s. Like you grew up on the Ghostbusters, you grew up on Caddyshack, you grew up on Commando, you grew up on these over the top sometimes movies that destroyed reality pretty much, but you had so much fun with them. And I think like this movie just calls back to that. It goes, look, we're having fun. And that's like every movie should be at its core in the 80s, where it was a fun movie. Didn't matter if it was horror, action, or anything. The core of it was to make sure you were having fun, scared out of your wits, but having fun.
Agreed.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So we're coming up to the end of the show. Because you are the guest, Sir Sturdy, you get to choose a movie for next week so that we can find a guest. I'm going to ask you not to choose horror. I'm going to ask you to go outside your genre. A movie that you may enjoy, something from the early, let's do it from the 80s to 95. Any movie in that period of time. That's going to be our movie that we're going to review until Al gets the wheel filled up, because we want to have what you have, that amazing wheel, so that it's not too stressful for our guests.
Non-horror 80s movie. I'll say Beverly Hills Cop.
I was just watching it the other day too.
We finally have a movie that you watch. I love it.
Oh, I have the trilogy at home. So.
Beverly Hills Cop. I'll say the first. Beverly Hills Cop. Go with the first one.
Boom. Done.
Fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give Sir Sturdy another chance here. So make sure next week you have to tune in. We're watching Beverly Hills Cop with the great Eddie Murphy. But Sir Sturdy, tell us where we can find you. Where can we find you on Instagram? Where are you on Instagram?
I'm not on Instagram right now. I'm debating on if I ever want to get back on there again.
All right. Where can we find you on Facebook?
Okay. Facebook. Like, horror with Sir Sturdy. Facebook. There's a Facebook group and a Facebook page. Check out both of those. The Z Network. There's a Facebook group. Join that. And Popcorn and Pints Facebook page. Give that a like. And then I'll say the Z Network on YouTube and Horror with Sir Sturdy on YouTube. All the other stuff. If you want to find out more, tune in to Popcorn and Pints tonight at 9:00 Eastern time on Facebook or the Z Network on YouTube, and you'll hear where else you can find myself and others that'll be on there and all that other fun stuff.
And you definitely, for sure, will be seeing me promoted on the fan page, Feel Better fan page, to share and help with my buddy, because his stuff is great, and you guys should too. Al, what are you doing? Are you live streaming tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna be live streaming on Twitch. I usually do my DJ sets. Like right now, I've been doing it more a little later because it seems like a lot of people are on Twitch more like later on throughout the night. So I'll be on spring some tunes from 9 till whenever. So follow me up, DJ. It'll be twitch.tv/DJ Overflow _MTL. Plus, I'm on social. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at DJ Overflow _MTL. And also,
no. You're wearing pants.
I am wearing
pants. The
pants.
question answered, ladies and gentlemen. There are pants on. I'm, of course, your host with the most. I am Phil Better, the podcast mogul. You can tune into the Phil Better Show every Saturday at around 5 p.m. going until about 5:30 to 6, depending on how I feel. But next week, we're reviewing Beverly Hills Cop. And make sure you follow us on social media at The Phil Better Show. I thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in, and to my guests. But it's time to go.